If you're a content creator, then you know that editing can be a time-consuming and sometimes frustrating process. So today, I'm going to share with you some of my tips and tricks to help speed up your post-production workflow in DaVinci Resolve. Let's start out with a cool effect that I just learned about for using vertical footage or photos in your non-vertical timeline. Add your vertical photo or video and add the effect blanking fill. And what that will do is then take another copy of the clip, scale it up, and fill the background and blur it out. It saves a ton of time duplicating and doing all of this yourself. So shout out to Peter McKinnon's editor for showing this one because it blew my mind when I saw it. This next one is something that I like to do all the time when I'm trying to get my clips to match the beat of the music. Play your music track, and as you're listening to it, hit M to add a marker on any beat that you want your cuts to be on. Once you've gone through your music and you've added all your markers, you can easily add your clips and they will snap to those markers that you just added for a quick B-roll montage. We can't talk about being efficient in DaVinci Resolve without talking about keyboard shortcuts. Let's start with some essential cuts and shortcuts you need to know. If you want to move everything over and throw another clip into your timeline, don't do this. Go to your keyboard shortcuts and find Select Clips Forward on all tracks and Select Clips Forward on this track. I have mine set to A and Y. Hitting A will select all tracks and then you can slide them over. But if you only want to select the clips on the current track that you're on, hit Y and that will just grab those and not all the other tracks. Now you can just slide them over and insert your new clip. Next up are the ripple deletes and a simple cut, which are start to playhead, end to playhead, and split clip. I have mine set to Q, W, and E. Let's talk about the speed and performance of Resolve. And to talk about this, we need to discuss the render cache. If you have a lot of effects or color grades on a clip, you may find it sluggish to play back. Go up to Playback, Render Cache, and change this to Smart. You'll now see these little lines appear above your clips. Red means that Resolve is rendering it out, and blue means it has been rendered to the cache. Once it's blue, it'll play back nice and smooth. The issue with using render cache though is that it does take up a lot of space on your computer. So if you find that you're running out of hard drive space, you'll need to delete these files. This is a sweet new feature that was just added to Resolve, and it's this Manage Render Cache setting here under Render Cache. Here you'll see a list of all your projects and how much space each one of them is taking up in cache files. Once you're done working on a project or multiple projects, select them and hit clear, and you'll free up all that space. Okay, so that's performance while working within Resolve, but let's talk now about speeding up your exports. There's two main things that I like to do to ensure the fastest possible exports. The first is to delete any inactive tracks. Sometimes you'll have B-roll clips sitting on top of your main footage, and you don't actually see the main A-roll footage underneath because the B-roll is on top of it. This is a waste of time to render out the full clip and the color grade on it if you're not even seeing it. I'll first make a copy of my timeline because what I'm about to do ends up deleting a bunch of footage, so in case something goes wrong, I like to have a backup. Now I'm going to highlight all of my B-roll clips like this and either drag them down or hit Option and the down arrow, and these B-roll clips will now overwrite the A-roll that was underneath them. The second thing I do, which is the one that will literally save you hours, is to ensure this box is ticked, which will use the render cache files that have already been rendered out while you're editing to render out the final video. I'll show you the difference this will make. I'll take this 10-minute video and I'll first render it out without the box ticked. I literally had to cancel it because it was taking so long and I didn't want to wait for it to fully render out. Now watch after I use the render cache files. And with that checked, it took just over 2 minutes. You're welcome. Last up is a color grading tip for color grading your A-roll or any clip really that is cut up and spread across your timeline. What I used to do is to grade one clip, go through, select the rest of the clips, and then copy the grade over. This is still pretty quick, but the issue I was having is that anytime I wanted to make a change to the grade, I had to go back and copy the grade over to all the clips again. Introducing remote grading. Before you start grading your clip, right-click the clip and select Use Remote Grades. Now when you make a change to one of the clips, it will automatically apply the same color grade to the whole video file wherever those clips are on your timeline.